Hey guys, welcome back from Classic Work. Got a really pretty day here in the state of Mississippi. And we got a cool project once again. This right here, pretty interesting deal here. I built this pier right here a couple of weeks ago and it's been painted and everything since. But what's at the end of the pier is what we've been working on here lately. Now this thing right here is a pond circulator, if that makes any kind of sense. It's an experimental kind of project. But anyways, we got this pond here that's shaped like a C, more or less, and it's got a pond in the middle of it, if that makes any kind of sense. So we've got a levee on that side and one over here, and we've got a big culvert running between both of them that are open. You may can see it over my truck there. See that grate over yonder, and there's one on this side of the levee on the other side of my truck. And what this thing does is, this here is a big 10-horse electric motor that runs these catfish aerators, and it's pulling a couple of gear reduction pulleys that can turn the RPM of this way down from, I'd say, 1850 down to about 300 or 250. So we'll go down there and look at the business end, get a little better look at it. But once again, big pulley, step up or step down, and you've got a smaller pulley over here that steps down again. And we've got a big shaft here that's connected to a fan blade, more or less. I think it's a 34-inch fan blade because there's a 36-inch culvert. It's got clearing on both sides. But this shaft turns. Oh, I ain't got enough strength. This shaft turns and pushes the water through this culvert. You can see way down at the other end there's a grate covering that pond up so the fish can't swim through here. And what this does is it creates a current in between these ponds, and it helps keep the oxygen levels up. Now this here is an experimental deal. I will post other things of it if anybody wants to see how this thing actually works. I've never seen anything like this in my life. It's different. As you can tell here, we got a big water bearing that's this shaft is going through. Maybe it'll help y'all get some ideas if you want to build something like this. And that's pretty much it. But this video is not about this. It's about what's in the back of the truck. So you want to know how to use this stuff, or maybe these perhaps. Well, let's take a look at it. I was going to give a few tips on cutting. Now I know this seems really straightforward, just using a pair of snips, but I've found that certain things work better than others. I've got two lines here, and we're going to cut both of them. We're going to use two different techniques. I see a lot of beginners, when they start cutting, they'll use the whole pair of snips. Like when they cut, they'll cut past the end. So you just clamp down all the way, and if you see, it puts a buckle in there, and that's every time that you clamp all the way to the end. So if you just keep doing that, what you wind up with is a bunch of buckles in there. If you can see them, there you go. You see them little dents all in there. So instead of doing that, every time you cut, never go to the end. So what you'll do is you'll go about halfway, leave about a quarter left, and then you'll just move your snips up. Do it again. Leave that gap in there, and it'll keep you from getting that buckle. And as you can tell, that is a lot smoother. Yeah, you definitely don't want them. The other thing that I was going to show is you really can only make the metal peel in one direction. The way these snips are designed, the bottom cutting jaw right here wants to peel the metal downward. So to give you an example, when you're cutting something like this, if you notice my right side there, it's folding it down. So that's what you want. You'll get the right cut, or the right finish, more or less, and you're left with a nice pretty cut. Now if you try to force it up, it does something kind of strange. So I'm going to go the other way this time. Alright, see how it's forcing the side that I want to keep up? It's going to round it over. So when I get over here, see how rounded over that is? It's kind of hard to see on camera, but you just have to take my word for it. Always try to get that metal to peel down that you don't want. So you'll be left with a lot better result. There's only 3 things that you need to know in order to use a sheet metal brake efficiently. The first one is the most obvious, is knowing how to clamp down and pretty much just bend a piece of metal. And the cool thing about a sheet metal brake is you can bend any angle that you want in it. You can go 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 90 degrees, any of it. That's the easiest thing that the sheet metal brake can do. And that's what you see most people do with a sheet metal brake. But there's a bunch of other things they can do also. This right here is a standard 90-degree bend. As you saw, it wasn't nothing to do that. So we'll put it back in there. Say we want to put a hem in this. And the reason you use a hem is for drip edge on a house or something like that, or to give it extra thickness when you rivet, or there's a lot of different uses that you can use for that. So once again, you can just put it straight in the brake, bend it all the way as far as it'll go, come back down, take it out of the brake. You notice we've got a real big curl on our lip right here. So clamp your brake like you're going to bend something, put it back in there and clamp that on top of it. And what this does is it puts a hem in it. There you go. Just a double bent piece more or less. Now different brakes will give you better results. Some of them will give you worse results. It doesn't matter. But a hem is a very, very good thing to put in. Like I said, it's a big stiffener. You can see it stiffen this piece up a lot. And plus there's no sharp edge. You can't cut yourself on that. So, and then the third thing that you need to know how to do is cut. Yes, you can cut with a sheet metal brake. So, clamp it in there like you were going to bend it. Take a utility knife and score it. Depending on the thickness is how many times that you'll score it. A few times. Bend it all the way up just like you would a hem. Bend it back and forth. There you go. You got a nice clean cut. And it'll work on various thicknesses of gauges. But you get a really, really good result and you get a nice straight line. But that is the fundamentals of the brake. If you can master, which ain't that hard as you can tell, those 3 things, you can build pretty much anything out of flashing. So, knowing all this information, let's build something. here she is all complete. Shiniest thing out here. One thing I did off camera is I put some angle iron all the way around, and same principle as everything else we did, drill holes and rivet it. And one last thing I had to do was cut a hole in the back to let the pulley system come out. The way this thing is designed, if you may can see it in the back, there's a piece of all thread that you can tension this belt up and down with. And it needed some clearance in there for it to move, so the hole's a little bit bigger than it needs to be. So, just a little thing, nothing too big. I fastened this down just with bolts and little fender washers on the bottom. And it's pretty flat out here, so I'm sure some straight line winds could pick it up, so that's why I did that. But guys, that's pretty much it. It was a pretty good project and I enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. So once again, for Classic Work, y'all guys take care. Like this video, subscribe to me if you hadn't already, and once again, I will see y'all next time. Y'all be good.